We know who they're letting stay.
Yeah.
We know who they're letting in.
Yeah.
We see it daily, weekly. We see criminals, we see murderers, we see rapists, we see terrorists.
Yep.
And we see now I see the system absolutely hammering down on YouTube. I want to tell you about a couple I met recently, Scott and Natasha. Scott's from the UK, Natasha is from America. They've been in a relationship for years and they were working together in Poland. Now, Scott's father became ill, so Scott wanted to come back to the UK. They come back to the UK, but Natasha's been refused again and again a work visa.
Well, we decided to stay. Natasha wants to stay. Natasha loves the UK. Even when she was working for NATO, it's not American English, it's British military English, etc. Natasha wants to stay, I want to stay for my father. And so we look at the different visa options for us, and there's one which is like, okay, you just need to prove you're a couple. That's what we applied for. We obviously gave them X amount of years of his photos, everything from the Kickstarter, all the time we've been together. And then eventually after 6 months, what happened was the government, because of pre-Brexit, had decided to say no to every single visa, no matter what.
Now, Natasha's an ideal candidate for a work visa. She studies 7 languages. She also studied to work as a diplomat. She's been security cleared by the FBI.
Natasha worked for NATO in Poland.
I taught everyone, but my biggest contract was teaching the 10th Logistics Brigade in the town we were living in for the Polish Army, which obviously they need to know English to go work with NATO troops.
Now, I take her over unvetted migrants who are invading our country on a daily basis. But yet she's been refused. And she's been battling now, and so have Scott, for 3 years to have her able to stay and work in this country.
We received a letter saying no nearly 2 years ago. And so we immediately applied to appeal.
If you talk us through, just in briefly, the cases then. The first case, you went to court and...
Yeah, the first case, so we went to court centre of London. That ended up getting adjourned because when we were in front of the judge, we had a different Home Office person, and another one came in and interrupted the case and I've been reading through this case all morning. I think we need to relook at this. So he offered a review. Great.
He thought it was BS.
So that one was interrupted by a different Home Office guy saying, we need to review this immediately. And
he's looking, thinking you should be able to come in.
Yeah. He looked at it in detail. We could see that he had made notes and everything. Blah blah blah. He offered to the judge for it to be reviewed and for it to be adjourned. I'm like, fantastic, wonderful, going to be sorted. It went back to the Home Office, to the original case officer, and she decided again no.
It was very much a situation of computer says no.
Yeah.
So it was very much computer says no, so the first hearing needs to take place again. My MP was useless, everyone was useless, so we expedited it ourselves, kicked off, went to senior judges in the UK. They came back and said this needs to be heard immediately. Then fair play, the tribunal service phoned me and said, we've got a spot, but it's at Yarlswood.
Yarlswood Detention Centre?
Yeah.
That's why I know that. The immigration centre where all the illegal immigrants are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got to Yarlswood and it was interesting when I went to the toilet and there was 2 security doors and the guy came through literally shackled with a hood over his head. Everyone else listed was a terrorist for the day. Thankfully, the judge was like, this is BS. And he went through the law. We had our own legal argument. We represented ourselves. And he said, I said it was racist. That was my terminology against British people. And if I was Polish, because obviously we have a link to Poland, it would be fine from what we've read in the law. And he completely agreed and he ruled yes.
He ruled that you're being discriminated against
because I'm British.
Specifically, he allowed our appeal because the laws as the Home Office were using it was discriminatory against British people.
But hang on, I thought the UK brought in loads of migrants and Scott's being discriminated against because he's British by the British system. We have so many migrants coming to our country who despise and hate our country, yet they're allowed to stay and work. Scott and Natasha are incredibly patriotic. They started a Kickstarter campaign on their route back to Britain so they could visit 100,000 war graves and leave poppies at each one. And here we have the law being used against them. 2 judges have now ruled in their favour. Scott and Natasha were ready to celebrate, and Natasha was ready to go to work for the first time in over 2.5 years. And the Home Secretary's office once again have appealed the decision. They're trying to boot her from our country.
We then go to the higher court, representing ourselves again. We get one of the most senior judges in the UK, and that judge rules that the first judge is completely right, 101%, and that the UK government is prejudiced against us because I am a UK national.
So this is the same judge who allowed someone on the terrorist watch list to stay in our country because they had a cat. Yes, that's the reason they were allowed to stay. That same judge has now allowed the Home Secretary's office to appeal the decision again.
And so now we're sitting in a situation where we're looking at April is our court date.
Now it's April, so now you've just got this. So you still are not working.
Not allowed
Like
to.
a dark cloud over your head, taking up your life. This is going to end up being 3 years of your life just...
Yeah. And I'll be honest with part of me is happy to give up.
This is so
We've
wrong.
tried to do it right by the system because Natasha's very much like, this is Britain. It's the greatest legal system. This is the Magna Carta.
3 years she's been forced not to work. 3 years Scott and Natasha have been going through this with an adverse effect on his health and her health. And now they have to wait again till April. It's a constant waiting game with a cloud hanging over their head. Scott and Natasha do not deserve to be treated like this. She's a perfect candidate for immigration to our country. She knows 7 languages. She wants to work. She's desperate to go to work and pay taxes into our country, yet we won't let her. Well, I need your help for this. I want to contact our Member of Parliament, Rupert Huck. Now, Rupert Huck agreed to help Scott and Natasha, but then she found out that they had voted Brexit, so then she refused. This is their Member of Parliament. It's her job to help. She actually gained her seat by promising to help people in this position, to help immigrants and migrants. Only they now fall into the wrong category of immigrant and migrant because they're the wrong colour, wrong religion, and they have the wrong politics. I need your help to put pressure on them. When you go to the website, savenatasha.uk, please sign this petition. Give me the ammunition I need to find Rupert Huck, to put these questions to her, to confront her on her failed job and failed support of some of her constituents, and the pressure that needs to be put on. 3 years this has gone on for Scott and Natasha. This has to come to an end, and hopefully with your support and you signing the petition, we can put pressure on the court, on the government, and on everyone. And then I can bring you a celebration video when hopefully Natasha's allowed to stay. But for her to be able to stay, we need your help. Sign the petition and help her.